In this video, I'm going to be talking about ordering sides and ordering angles of triangles, as well as isosceles and equilateral triangle properties. So when we're talking about ordering sides, we need to understand that the smallest side is going to be across from the smallest angle. Okay, so the smallest side is across from the smallest angle, which means this larger side is going to be across from the largest angle. The smallest angle is going to be across from the smallest side, right? So we're doing vice versa. And the largest angle is going to be across from the largest side. Across from the largest side. Okay, so let's put that into action here. We're asked which angle is the largest and which angle is the smallest. The quickest way to go about doing this is to take your hand, your finger, anything, and cover up the numbers on the sides. So I'm going to use a rectangle here to move. So if we cover up the biggest side, which is 10, right? If I cover that up with a rectangle, hold on, I got to make it a color. So it has a fill here. Right? So if I cover up the longest side, the letter that I see last is T. So T is going to be our largest angle, right? And it's across from our biggest side, which is 10. Okay, then we're going to say the next biggest number that we see here is 8. And across from 8 is going to be the next biggest angle for us. We're going to put an M for the middle angle. Okay, and then our smallest side is 6, and if we go across from side 6, we're on R, and that's going to be our smallest angle. Now again, I think covering up is the best way to do it. So like if I go back to that smallest side here, if I can turn my box, I think. I'm going to turn my box to cover up my side, right? If I cover up that side and I look for the only letter that's left, it's R. So that's what I would be doing with my hand if you could see my hand. So up here, when I asked for what is the largest angle, I would put angle T. So I could put the symbol for an angle there and T. That is one way that we can write that. We could also write an angle with 3 letters. So you could also see the same angle written as angle STR. Right? It could be STR there. Okay? So again, we can name angles with 3 letters or we can name them with 1. If we look at the smallest angle, right, that was angle R for us. All right. Angles are going to work about the same way, right? So our largest angle we see here is 100. And if I go across from 100, this side that is across from it is DF. Now you could take your hand and you could cover E with your hands. And when you cover E with your hand, the 2 letters that are left are DF. So DF would be our longest piece there. You could also write this as FD. The order of those 2 letters does not matter. But there's 2 with a line above it. The shortest side is going to be across from the smallest angle. So the smallest angle here is 30. And if I go across from 30, The side that is over there is DE. Oops. So that's going to be my smallest side. So up here I'd put DE, or you could write ED, okay, with a line above it. So let's now talk about ordering. Now the biggest issue I see is not that we don't know how to order our sides, we do. We just don't read the directions. So the directions here say to list the angles. So we're looking for angles even though they've given us sides, okay, from least to greatest. So we're going to go from small to big. Okay, so the smallest number I see here on this first triangle is 1.8. And if I go across the way to the next angle, across from 1.8 is angle V. So that's going to be my smallest, so angle V. Okay, then if I go to the next smallest, it's 2.7. So if I go across from 2.7, I'm not going to the side across from 2.7, I'm going to the angle. Angle M is there, so angle M is going to be my middle angle. And then if I go across from my biggest side, which is to 3.9, okay, I'm at angle O. Okay, so we're going to do it again for the next one. Our smallest side is 12. And if we go across from 12, we end up at angle G. So angle G is going to be our smallest angle. And then if I go for my middle side, right, that's 16. And across from 16 is angle H. And then for my biggest side, 20, across from 20 is angle K. So then angle K here would be my largest angle. Please go ahead and try 3 on your own there and see if you can get it right. Okay, so hopefully you got your answer to match the answer that I got up there. All right, so let's look at what we do when we got to order the sides when we're given the angles. So again, we're listing the sides and looking for longest to shortest here, okay? Longest to shortest. So I'm going to look for my biggest angle. My biggest angle here is 90. Okay, if I cover up the 90, the 2 letters that are left are A and E. So that is going to be my largest side. So I write AE with a line above it. All right, my next largest angle is 62. And if I go out from 62, I'm at side DE. So I'm going to put DE on my paper. And then if I go out from 28, right, because that's the smallest, AD would be my smallest side. Okay? All right, we're going to do it again for 5. So 5, again, we're looking for our biggest angle, which happens to be 81. If we go out from 81, we're at side LJ. So LJ would be first because it was our largest. And then our next largest is 78. So if I go out from 78, I'm at IJ. And then the smallest angle is 21. So the smallest side will be LI. Please try number 6 there on your own, and you can check with me in class to see if you got that right or another classmate. Okay, so equilateral triangles. Equilateral triangles have all the sides and all the angles equal. So that means when we're ordering the sides, it doesn't matter what order we put it in. And it doesn't matter because everything is equal. Okay, now this would be the answer for both the top part and the bottom part here. Right? We can't list the sides in order because they're exactly the same. And if they ask you to, you just put them in whatever order you so want because the order doesn't matter. Now the key here is when solving for these, right? So maybe I say that this side is 38. And maybe I say this side is 2x plus 8. Anytime you're solving for sides, they're going to be equal. So for this one, we would say 2x plus 8 equals 38. Now, what if I said that the angle was 7x plus 3, right? If I said it was 7x plus 3, we would set the angles equal to 60. Because each angle here is equal to 60 degrees, okay? Because in an equilateral triangle, all the angles are the same. They're all going to be 60 degrees, okay? Now, if they only gave us, it was 2x plus 3, we could also, set them equal to 60 because we knew it was an equilateral triangle. So please keep that in mind. Isosceles, right? Isosceles have two sides that are congruent. And we just talked about the relationship between angles and sides. So if the angles if the sides are congruent, it also means that their angles are going to be congruent. So that means the angles that are directly across from them are going to be congruent to one another. Okay, so angle C here is going to be congruent to angle B. And if they tell you that the angles are congruent, you can then assume, oops, went a little farther, that the sides that are directly across from them are also going to be congruent. So AC is congruent to BA. Oops, that's supposed to be a B. B, A. All right. So let's use those properties, right? So here, if we go across, we have one of our angles, okay, that has a congruent angle to it. So if I go across from the other side, that angle there will also be 48. In the previous class, we learned that triangles have 180 degrees in them. So here, we're going to say 48 plus 48 plus x. Oh, that's a y. Sorry, let me fix that. Equals 180 degrees. If we had Desmos, we could just type this into Desmos, right? And Desmos would tell us that y was 84. If you don't have a Desmos, you can solve it by hand, right? 48 plus 48 is 96. Subtract 96 from 180 and you'll get the 84. Okay, here they give us angles being congruent, which means the sides across from them are also congruent. So here we're going to say x plus 32 equals 52. And we'll subtract the 32 from both sides to get x equaling, that's a 2, 20. Okay, so x would be 20 there. Again, we're using these properties of isosceles triangles to solve. Here we're solving for the value of x and for the measures of the angles. So we're going to take what we know across from the congruent sides is going to be equal. So if one of them is x plus 10, the other one will also be x plus 10. And we know triangles have 180 degrees, so we're going to add them all together. X plus 10 plus x plus 10 plus 3x equals 180 degrees. And here you could go straight to Desmos and type it in, or you could solve algebraically. Okay, but you're going to get x to be 32. And then, now that we have the value of x, which was step 1, we need to plug it back in to get our values of our angles. So 32 plus 10 gives us 42. So angle B is 42, and angle G is 42. 3 times 32, I wrote that 3 really big, is going to give us 96 degrees for angle U. Okay? If you have any questions on this, please see me and ask them next class.